Thank you so much for confirming that you can all hear me okay. It is great to know that the audio is okay. It's very good right at the beginning of the webinar to understand that things are starting off at a good pace. Right. Thanks so much for joining us. Let me welcome you all once again. Good morning, good afternoon to wherever you're joining us from. Today we're going to have another exciting webinar along with a couple of great people today. We have on the panel today Jeff Sheehan. Jeff has been selling, that's what he's been doing for over 30 years now, and he's been responsible for hundreds and millions of dollars of B2B sales, and he's worked with many of the world's top Fortune 500 tech companies globally, which includes, some big names like Apple, Intel, Cisco, IBM, and you name what. And on the contemporary side, he's also a LinkedIn and social selling expert. He's also written a book. His book on social media is ranked number 11 on the topmost books in Amazon in the job hunting and careers category. Jeff, nice to have you on board. Welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. We also have on the panel today Clinton Rosario. Clinton has been the product manager and chief software architect of many of the eGrabber products that we have on eGrabber's Forte, and he's dealt with more than 50,000 customers who've been using the eGrabber tools, and he is a real expert when it comes to in developing tools and stuff, and he's a pro on that. Clinton, thanks for joining us today as well.
Hey, thanks, Rich. Good to be here.
All right, great. So the voice that you hear, that's me, Rich Kumar. I've had the privilege to work with eGrabber for about 6 years now, and I have worked with almost about 5,000 customers on a day-to-day basis. Reaching out to people and then, assisting them and getting them up and running with the tools and stuff. Okay, so that's the speaker profile for you today. Let's quickly go and do some housekeeping tips. If you want to ask any questions, we will be taking questions towards the end. So please use your questions box and let us know your questions for Jeff or for Clinton. We'll be taking questions towards the end. You can also follow Clinton at Clinton Rosario, and then you can also follow eGrabber at eGrabberAR. To tweet your questions or comments, please use hashtag eGrabberWebinar. We'll be monitoring the questions on tweets as well. And for Jeff Sheehan, there it is coming right up, @Jeff Sheehan. So if you want to follow Jeff, there's the Twitter handles as well. Okay, so that's enough housekeeping tips, and we'll switch right over to Jeff. Jeff, I'm going to make you the presenter. The floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you for joining today, and hopefully you'll get a lot out of what we're about to present. I certainly believe in this. I have a somewhat unorthodox approach, however, to the whole social selling arena, so I hope that you concur with what I have to say. First of all, this is the book that I wrote. It's called Hired Paths to Employment in the Social Media Area. I have been involved in the social media area quite actively for many years, but in particular for the last 5 years, when I actually went through a downsizing redeployment with a major company with 48,000 employees and sales of about $9 billion. So as Rich mentioned, I've been in the sales arena and marketing arena for many years. I started out in the sales arena as a paper boy. I sold real estate, I sold infrared, moisture analyzers, process control instrumentation, electronic components and semiconductors, among other products. So very experienced in this area, and I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of product during my career. So I'm not a neophyte, and I have carried a bag, which I think if anyone is talking about social selling, they really want to make sure that they have carried a bag in the past, because of the fact that they do have a great understanding of the sales process. Things have changed, but things have not changed that much. So let's get started with social selling. It's certainly a new, popular type of approach to the old selling method, and something that's been coined by so many advocates out there. It's an evolution, though, not a revolution, and please consider that. The sales game has changed, but face-to-face contact with most people is still an important part of the equation, and so just don't forget that. Beware of the hype. There's so much hype out there in the social selling arena. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at something today. It was alluding to the fact that, content with regard to the whole social process. Okay, it's an important part, but at the end of the day, there's still, particularly in the B2B arena, someone has to close the sale. Someone has to take the order. Someone has to issue the RFQ. And so it's an entire process that content plays a role in it, an important role. However, do not neglect the other aspects. It's really a portfolio approach to overall selling. So beware of the hype and anyone selling you those packages accordingly. Again, content is not king in this whole process. It's part of the equation. But the real component of social selling is the customer. And don't lose your emphasis on that. The customer is what is the most important part of the equation. Unless you're a startup, you want to concentrate your efforts on the current customer because that's where the majority of your profits and sales are going to come from. Plus, the costs are a lot lower. The cost of customer acquisition are very, very high. So please concentrate on the customer. The customer is king. And the other thing is you want to pick your poison because the challenges of the internet, there are so many platforms out there that you can get lost and do nothing but sit behind a desk all day, sending out content or doing this or doing that, and you lose track of time and you lose the focus on the customer. So remember, unless it's your startup, the current customer is where you're going to get your business from and the referrals, and concentrate on the tools in that will allow you to connect with them accordingly. And also in this stage, it's not what you know, it's who you're connected to, and more importantly, who can find you. You want to be visible because it creates opportunities for yourself, and it encourages the actual contact with you and nurturing of relationships to that. So make sure that you can be found. And I will talk about how you can be found during this webinar. And also remember, with regard to the sales process and content, one size does not fit all. You really need to give some consideration of personalizing your messages, whether it's face-to-face contact through the social media channels with content marketing. What is really important to your respective customer? How can you personalize things to them? How can you get that message across? But don't personalize things in such a way that they become creepy. I had a discussion yesterday during a talk radio show I was hosting, and there's a company out there actually will take the information from you if you've been on their website, and they will actually glean enough information to facilitate a phone call. And this one gentleman who received the phone call was really disturbed with this. He no longer wants to do business with this particular company because they figured that they invaded his turf. So be aware of that with what you do. You have to walk a fine line with regard to this whole process of social selling between being a seller, a purveyor of content information versus being someone that's perceived as being creepy because it can turn them off and kill your relationship. So you want to be out on the lookout for different opportunities in this. So let's get started. First thing you need to do in this whole social selling process or anything else really, what are your goals and objectives? What do you want to do at the end of the day? Do you want to sit by the beach like this gentleman's doing here and just enjoy himself? No, you're in business, so you want to make money with it. What is your strategy? Do you have a strategy? And I can tell you unequivocally that most people I've talked to within the social media arena and social selling arena, they don't have a clue. They haven't really taken the time to clearly delineate what their strategy is going to be and clearly articulate to their team members so that everyone is in concert and rowing in the same direction. And the other thing is, how do you define success? Is it metrics? Is it monetary gain? Is it market share that you've gained? What are the key attributes that you're using to measure success with your respective business? So how do I start? You want to brand yourself, and you want to Google yourself and your company to make sure that everything is clean. And then start your branding process accordingly. Who am I online? Now, one of the things, as a matter of fact, you want to make sure that there are any typos of that are associated with your name or your company's name. It's appalling how many typos there are out there, and I'm very fastidious with regard to this, maybe a perfectionist in a lot of ways with regard to typos. I just absolutely hate them. And if you ever see me with the typo out there, please let me know. You won't embarrass me. I'd like to correct things accordingly. But there have been studies that have been done out there, particularly in the hiring area, where if you have a typo on your LinkedIn profile or resume or whatever, it's really looked on extremely negatively. In fact, in a lot of cases, more so than people who are holding a beer or a glass of Jack Daniels or your favorite whiskey. So let's get started. The main tool that I use, and I think everyone should be concentrating on, is LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn since 2006, and I love it. I think it's a great tool, although I wish LinkedIn would limit the number of changes that they have, because of the fact that it does become somewhat overwhelming with regard to keeping up with each and every change. It is the best business networking tool. I can't think of a better way of connecting with people. Some 313 million users, 2 to 3 new users per second, estimated 5 billion people searches last year. And one of the things I think that's most important with LinkedIn, before you get started, is managing your settings. And this is what the settings page looks like here. And a couple of the key points on this is making sure that you turn on and off your activity broadcast before you update your profile, your company's profile, and then select what others can see when you view the profile. I generally leave mine anonymous. Maybe it's people think it's a bit creepy, but I do some competitive analysis on that, and I don't want people to notice that I've looked at their respective profile. However, if I'm out there trying to make a connection with a company or an individual, then I'll turn on the full profile so that they know that I've looked at their profile, and it will help facilitate a connection in majority of the cases. And the other thing is select who can see your connections. I keep that on private because I consider it as my intellectual property. And also, one of the key points is show how viewers of this profile also viewed the box. That's critical because of the fact that you don't want to give away who your potential competitors are, because if you look at your profile, LinkedIn uses an algorithm which may show and display a number of your competitors. I'll talk about this more thoroughly in a minute. The other thing is, like this is it right here, for instance, the reason for turning on and off your activity broadcasts is because of the fact that you don't want to broadcast your whole entire group. You don't want to be perceived as spamming, and you don't want to be posting to multiple groups and the message is going out to everyone within the network. What they've seen when they viewed your profile, again, you can select anonymous or your entire profile, or totally anonymous, or partial profile. So use anonymous for most searches, except in cases where you want to be connected. And then your activity feed, you can select everyone, your network, your connections are only you, and use this as warranted for making those valuable connections on LinkedIn. And then this is the views of this profile. As I mentioned, you want to hide your competitors. You don't want to display those to potential prospects. This is my profile here, and one of the things you can do, I'd suggest, is having a professional photo and copying that across all social media channels. Then your headline with regard to who you are and what you actually represent. Your URL title. In my particular case, I had Jeff Sheehan 2010 because when I joined in 2006, believe it or not, someone already captured Jeff Sheehan. So I put 2010 after that, and I suggested you do so accordingly. Then you can change, you can add projects, languages, publications, and test scores. All this information is critical because of the fact that it serves as an inbound marketing platform for you. So the more information you have, presenting in a professional manner with the keywords in that attached to it will serve as an inbound marketing mechanism for you. However, don't overdo it. Don't become a so-called gamer within LinkedIn and adding all kinds of information with regard to your positions for the same job that you've had over the years and stuffing it with keywords. There are some so-called social media gurus out there who do this, and they advocate it. I'm totally against it. I think it's unethical and disingenuous, so don't do it. Make sure your profile is at 100%, and they can share the profile with your respective networks. Professional looking, as mentioned, I show my ugly mugshot, but this is my dog here. I love my dog, but I've seen pictures of dogs on people's LinkedIn profiles. Even though you might love your dog doesn't belong in LinkedIn. It's a professional platform. Then have you maximize your profile. Make sure you have your contact information listed, your cell phone number, your email address, and also make sure that your Twitter handle, your websites and that are all live. You would be amazed at the number of people I come across where the Twitter handles are directed to someone else's Twitter profile. All the websites are for their previous employers, and more importantly, the email addresses are incorrect. They go back to the previous employers or previous companies that people were associated with. So please check that. And furthermore, make sure that you incorporate some of this information within the overall profile itself so that people can find you quite readily. I'll show you what I mean in a second. This is what I was talking about. Here in the summary, as you can see, I have my name once again, as well as my email address, and then I include various information pertaining to myself, as well as my various social media footprint information, so that people will look at me, will see me as credible, but more importantly, it does attract people because of the keywords that are associated with it. And use a keyword cloud for generating some of the keywords that you have in your respective profile. There are a few out there with regard to keyword generators, and you should be out there using this to incorporate within your overall profiles. Maximizing your profile. Make sure that you list your experience, and also with regard to keywords, make it keyword rich. And then as far as creating visibility on that, we're in a visual society now where people love visual content. So add presentations, videos, and more to your respective profile. But don't clutter it, because if you overdo it, it's going to look cluttered and people will be turned off by it. Like in my particular case, I only show the book on my profile as far as presentation, because that's where the focus has been over the last 6 months or so with regard to generating sales of the book itself. So put that on there. I took the copy of the bookmark, JPEG of it, and uploaded it accordingly so that it shows distinctly on my LinkedIn profile. Making sure in your profile itself, like here, the company I worked for many years is called Murata Electronics. Again, $9 billion or so, Japanese company with about 48,000 employees. Had a very good job with them for over 20 years. And what I've done here is I've actually articulated who they are, because even though there's a piece of Murata in every one of your electronic devices out there, very few people have heard about it. So please make sure that you add that accordingly. And they'll also include the notable achievements so you look like you has done something with your life. Education, add that accordingly so that people from various educational establishments can find you. Like there are buyers out there. If they've gone to the same schools that you have, they will gravitate towards you. I can tell you that, particularly in the South, where there seems to be a great deal of affinity relationships with regard to football programs and that. It's very likely if you went to an SEC school and you put that down there, that people will gravitate to you accordingly. Also, volunteer experience. You'd be surprised at the number of people who do not list their volunteer experience. So please put that down there. It shows that you're a giver, you're paying forward, you're a member of the community, and doing everything that you possibly can. If you're not volunteering, I highly suggest that you do so. And then your interests. Make sure that you put that down there accordingly, along with your details about how people can reach you. And then also maximize your profile. One of the things you can do now is you can become a LinkedIn poster. And I do this as frequently as I can. Again, I'm very, very busy. However, I do post things out there because of the fact that I want to attract potential prospects in that. This is a great way of publishing content and sharing it with your respective networks as part of the social selling process. So if you're a blogger, you're trying to attract people, join the LinkedIn post. Very, very helpful. I can tell you, I'm getting thousands of views on the respective posts. And what's good about them is you can share them, you can like them, and comment on them accordingly. It goes out to your entire network if you so choose. So very, very helpful tool with regard to content sharing, the social selling process. Who's doing your profile? This is part of the social selling process because of the fact that if your profile isn't being viewed by enough people, you know that you're not attracting potential clients or potential customers. You want to be an inbound marketing machine, and how many people viewed your profile is certainly part of that equation. The other thing, skills and endorsements. You want to make sure that you're active in this particular area. I can tell you that my skills and endorsements that you'll see here have all been grown organically. I've not been on and asked for any skills and endorsements in writing from individuals. So you can take either path where you continue to approach it from an organic perspective and rely on others to endorse you, or you can go out and ask people to endorse you for a few skills. This is mine right here. As you can see, I have a number of different endorsements out there. Yeah, so endorsements are very, very beneficial. What they are is a billboard on LinkedIn. They show you capabilities. They clearly articulate who you are and what your capabilities are with regard to respective disciplines. So for buyers looking for someone that has information on a certain subject matter, they're going to gravitate to you if they see that, because people are out there singing your praise of your capabilities in that area. However, with regard to your business, make sure you don't focus on too many. And I've kind of gotten away from this because of the fact that I have so many years of experience. I need to go back and clean mine up and only focus on 5 to 7 disciplines that clearly articulate who I am. The other thing is make sure that you get recommendations. Recommendations have not died. As a matter of fact, I think they're more important because of the fact that if you do have people recommend you, it shows that they've taken the time rather than the nanosecond it takes to endorse you. So very, very useful as far as attracting people and prospects for your respective business and social selling era. And all of this is going to do one thing. It's going to put money in your pocket from an inbound marketing perspective. People are going to find you. They're going to gravitate towards you, and they want to do business with you if you've established your credibility online through LinkedIn. The other thing is you want to continue to update your networking with content, and that's very, very useful to them. You can do that through LinkedIn updates, but don't do it too frequently because of the fact that people perceive you as spamming them. So you can go out there, you can like, you can comment, and you can share on the respective things that you shared. Very, very effective tool for getting in touch with your respective prospects or customers and nurturing that relationship. You want to like, comment, and share also on your customers, your prospects. What are they doing out there with regard to their positioning on LinkedIn? Go out there, be active, engage with them. Critical factor in the whole process in this day and age. And then also, it's one thing that a lot of people don't do, is go out and wish people happy birthday, congratulations on your promotion, but make sure the promotion is real and something, or current I should say, not something that happened 3 to 6 months ago, because that can happen on LinkedIn. If they update their profile, sometimes it's sent out as a promotion. So just be aware of that. But go out and congratulate people. People really love this. I can't think of better ways of engaging with people than through LinkedIn for wishing people happy birthday. Everyone does it on Facebook, but very few people do it on LinkedIn. So it's part of the secret sauce. And respond. If people write to you, they comment on your blogs or LinkedIn posts and that, please make sure you respond to them. It will create further engagement with them and help you accordingly with regard to, again, nurturing that relationship, building upon it, establishing the foundation that's really going to lead to greater sales for you. LinkedIn posts, great way of sharing information, taking some of the posts that are out there and using it accordingly for your respective business and communicating with your customers. But personalize it as much as you possibly can, because of the fact what you don't want to do is you don't want to go out and arbitrarily post something that has no relevance to your target audience. So be very, very careful with how you share things and what you share with them. You want to make sure that it is really applicable to your end customer, your prospect, because of the fact that people are just inundated with content. I mean, content is just this plethora of it out there. And if you're not careful, you're going to turn people off rather than engaging with them. So use it strategically and don't use it too frequently. Otherwise, you'll turn people off. And then make sure you use hashtags, what things you're doing in communication, so people can gravitate towards those respective hashtags. And if in the social selling arena, if you post something on LinkedIn, it goes through Twitter, it has a hashtag associated with it, which will drive traffic to your LinkedIn profile as well, because people invariably, if they do a search in the hashtag that's associated with your LinkedIn profile, they will click through. And one of the things, tools, there are several out there. Webstagram is a tool for finding the hashtags that might want to use. There's hashtag.org and some others. But it's a great way of finding what hashtags are most popular out there. Instagram is real time, very easy to use. You can go out and search to see what the relative number of postings are on Instagram with regard to the respective hashtag. Give you a pretty good ballpark figure. Also, the other thing is you want to get connected on LinkedIn and the other social media tools that you use it, because it does enhance the whole social selling capability that you have. I consider myself a so-called networking sponge, and I think you want to become one as well. Okay, I do get a little bit of spam, but not too much. But the thing is, the more context you have, the better your ability to be found and for you to find people. So you want to expand your network as much as you can and create more of a 3 degrees of separation, the phrase that was coined by Kevin Bacon, and establish this as much as you possibly can with the number of LinkedIn connections. You can manage these through your LinkedIn tags and that, but very, very effective tool of expanding your network and enabling people to find you and for you to connect with people and find them as well. this is mine right here at 7,400 plus connections on LinkedIn, which gives my network about 22.4 million. I could do more with this, quite honest with you, and I don't have the time. And I try to be somewhat selective. However, I do look out for lines. I do look out for those who are out there. And please be aware that there are a certain percentage of people on LinkedIn that are fakes, as well as the other social media channels, because there are companies out there selling LinkedIn connections and that, and also people that establish LinkedIn profiles for the purpose of lead generation in that. There's one, I've come across numerous ones, so just be aware of that, particularly if you see a good-looking blonde female or male that resides, Caucasian obviously, that resides in India or Thailand or one of the other countries in Asia or some other areas of the world, that the person really does not look like they belong there, and they have a name, a surname that is definitely from Western European or the Americas, and it just doesn't fit. Be aware of that, because the fact that invariably they're probably a bot. So just vet them, see what their profiles look like, but generally connect with people because it does enhance your networking capabilities. The other thing is expand your network through connecting with them through your respective email boxes, in-mail boxes that you have out there, whether it's Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, or the others. LinkedIn gives you the ability to go in and find who's in your email systems and upload those accordingly and establish those connections with LinkedIn. It does give you the ability to pick and choose and upload them, and it does put out a default message, which sometimes infuriates people, but nevertheless, it's a great way of quickly building your network and giving you the ability to be found and for you to find people. And this is what I was talking about here. The other thing is connecting through your alumni association and exploring what you have with regard to your college alumni. This is one of the schools I went to, Georgia State University here in Atlanta. So I go in periodically and I look at the different alumni and what they're actually doing out there. Also, the point of connecting, this is Hillary Clinton. I've connected to her on a second-level basis. If I wanted to, I connect with her accordingly because of the size of my network. I do have this ability. So you never know who you'll be able to connect with as a result of the size of your respective network. And then managing it, connecting with these contacts, saying congratulations, I mentioned earlier, on their new position, or a book release, a published post that you like, or some of the other things that these people have done. It creates a great deal of goodwill. It will lead to some potential opportunities for you. And managing it, tag people. Look at what they've done, how long ago it has been since they connected with you. These are all things that you can do on LinkedIn very effectively. So if you've connected with someone who you think is a good prospect for your business or customer in some period of time, reach out to them. Make their content. Use content information to connect with them, or pick up the phone and call them, or send them an email. Do something to engage with them and continue to nurture the network. Like this one here, you want to tag them, and also set up a CRM type system within LinkedIn to remind you of when you should contact them again, how you met, and other information that pertains to the relationship that you have with them. And then also, as far as this, looking at the alumni once again and what they do and connect with these people accordingly. And also, are you looking at who viewers also viewed? In this particular case, there might be some gems in here of people that you might want to connect with because they are looking at perhaps the competitors' profiles out there who are not aware that they shouldn't be displaying that information on their profiles in order to remain competitive. And then using the advanced people search. You'd be surprised. I would say probably 90% of the cases that in the talks I give, people are not using this function. It's great. Positively a great way of honing in on prospects, companies, by geographical area, by titles, by keywords, by a whole myriad of different things. Naturally, there's some limitations on the free subscription to LinkedIn on this, but it is a very, very valuable tool with regard to creating engagement, reaching out to those people who will be beneficial to your respective business. The other thing is searching for key people within those. This is an example here of No Rubbermaid here in Atlanta. It lists all my first level connections, second and third group members, some 1,957 results. So if I was prospecting and I was looking at No Rubbermaid, trying to sell to the social selling arena, it gives you 1,957 potential people that engage with at No Rubbermaid, one way or the other, good information or context within the company. So I can do a deep dive by looking at this with the new Rubbermaid itself. Great. And then researching the companies. Before you engage with people in social selling, make sure you've researched the companies. This is Coca-Cola as an example here. But most large companies and most mid-sized companies have LinkedIn profiles. And there's a plethora of information out there with regard to the company. And you do not have to go out and go to the library and research companies like you used to. Generally, the information that's displayed will take you to the key salient points of information that pertain to that respective company. And I would suggest in the social selling arena that you arm yourself to the hilt with information pertaining to the prospect that you're going after, the company itself as well as the individual. Vet them. Go out and look in LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. What do they look like? What is their personality like? Because the fact it can really help you as far as social selling is concerned, making that connection and taking it a step further within this whole entire process. So very, very useful from that regard is going out and looking at all the tools and the information that's available pertaining to your prospects or customers and using it to your advantage in the sales process. Checking with former employees of these companies, great way of arming you as to what some of the problems and opportunities might be in those respective companies. And using groups as a search tool for prospects in that. Very, very useful for finding information on people and also finding what the problem points are that you might be able to solve as a seller. So very helpful. And then also with regard to the groups, are you in the right groups? This is an actual group here on LinkedIn called the Basket Weavers Upon the Land. Be careful what groups you're in. And also, there's some social media pundits out there that say, go out and set up a group for yourself, call yourself the CEO, CMO, COO, president, whatever it might be of that respective group. You can't think of a worse thing to do than set yourself up in a group that is meaningless, such as this one here, because of the fact that if prospects or customers come and look at your profile, they click through on a particular group, and there's nothing there, no essence to it, no substance to it. What are they going to think of you? So please be very, very careful and don't set up a group because of the fact that you become president or CEO of that group. It's meaningless and will hurt your brand. Active participant. Make sure you go out and communicate in this. There are other platforms out there, Yahoo Answers and Quora, that you can also participate in as far as providing solutions and looking for potential problem areas that you can address the pain points of. So avail yourself of these particular groups. LinkedIn premium packages. I do have a premium account, and it's been quite beneficial for me. I think the most beneficial thing has been the in-mails and also some of the search capabilities. But the in-mails are very, very helpful on LinkedIn. The response rates that get in emails are generally much higher than some of the other platforms I have used within LinkedIn and the other social media channels. So don't overlook that. If you're serious about doing business on using LinkedIn and some of the other social tools, the LinkedIn Premium might make a lot of sense for you. Give it a try. The other thing I want to point out is there's so many tools out there. And as I said from the outset, you can get lost in all of these. You can spend a month of Sundays doing nothing but checking out respective social tools out there and using them accordingly. Now, I'm a firm believer in Twitter. I have 282,000 followers on Twitter. I'm one of the highest number within the marketing and sales arena in the world in that regard. I love it. I'm a Twitteraholic. I'm on it constantly. It's been great for sourcing information. And one thing to remember, if you create a connection, and this is a great social selling tip, creating a relationship on Twitter and you retweet people and engage with them can invariably lead to a LinkedIn connection, which can lead to an email connection with the individuals or a phone call, and then ultimately a face-to-face meeting with the people, regardless of where in the world you're located. If you're visiting their respective location, you made these type of connections. It's a great facilitator for interaction and for helping facilitate that. And that may build a business relationship to create further business for your company or a potential for referrals and that within your business. So, again, the tools are great, but remember, they're just tools. They're social selling tools. They're not an end-all. You still have to close the deal. You still have to get out there. You still have to engage the buyers, unless you're in a B2C space where it's a bit different. But in the B2B space, your relationship, your ability to nurture that and use it, provide great content and great information to the respective buyers is helpful. I mean, the buyers know in this day and age a majority of the information, but it still takes someone to differentiate, create a reason why they should buy from you rather than a competitor. And also, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. That has not disappeared and will not disappear. So don't overlook that in the social selling area. Use the tools that we're presenting here today as tools, but get out there. Establish these relationships, nurture them. It'll help your business tremendously, and for not only for today, but for a lifetime. Because you want to create that, and you want to do it effectively, efficiently, and you want to make sure that you are really focusing in on things that are going to provide you with revenue growth and a decent bottom line. And first thing you should do really is focus on the customers. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Rich once again, if you don't mind, and hopefully this information was helpful. Again, it's a 30,000 foot view of social selling. Again, a useful tool, not an end-all, but it is something which you can use. I think what you're going to see from Rich and his Clinton is very, very effective with regard to creating some of the information that you need to connect with people accordingly with regard to emails and some of the other things that they have. So, Rich, turn it back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. That was great. Some of the great information that you shared with us. Appreciate that. There are a couple of questions that have come your way, but before we answer those questions or before we go to the Q&A, Clinton, I do believe you have an offer for our audience today?
No,
yes,
oh, go ahead.
Yes, yes, Rich, I do have an offer for our audience today, at least on our tool, our email finding tool. So that's what I'd like to talk about for another couple of minutes before we take on the questions. So the email finding tool that I'm talking about is something that we developed for a lot of salespeople who asked us that, okay, I have people who I can prospect on LinkedIn. I have buyers who my sales team prospects on LinkedIn, and once they get there, they send them a connection, they send them an invite, and the invites don't come back. And what do I do? So being a software company who's been in this kind of business for about 16 plus years, we sat down and asked ourselves, what can we do about this? So we found that if you can't get an email and a phone number from LinkedIn because you're not connected to somebody, well, there are ways to do it, and there are ways which expert salespeople were doing it, expert internet researchers were doing it. So from a LinkedIn profile like this, how would you get somebody's email and phone number without being connected to them? Well, we are a software company, so we're good at making little buttons. So what we did is we made a little button called the Account Researcher. So as soon as you press that little button in this little software you can see on the right-hand side, it takes the name of the company of whoever prospect, whichever buyer you're pointing to on LinkedIn, and it finds their email address and a phone number. So now you can send them connection invite. Wait for a couple of days. If you don't get a response, send them an email if you prefer emails. Or if you don't prefer emails, if you think it's too expensive at $10, no problem. Just use this Account Researcher tool and send them an email. Give them a phone call. Another thing about emails, people tie up their LinkedIn account to their personal account, and they check that on weekends. So you don't want to be seen on weekends. You want to be in their mailbox on their weekday when they're at their most productive. So that's where the business email really helps. Okay, so that's why we made the Account Researcher to help salespeople prospect better. And you can pretty much take it anywhere. You can point it to any place where you have a name and a company. And here's another profile I have found an email and a phone number for. And the nice thing is, it also gives you a list of colleagues of the prospect or the buyer who have left their email addresses or phone numbers out there on the internet. And if you're a fan of the circle of leverage technique of selling, this is great news because you can talk to many people in the organization and try to get to your decision maker who you want to talk to. Okay. Now, by the way, a lot of people ask us, a lot of salespeople ask us, hey, I'd like to buy this for my team, but do you have a database? Do you use a database where to get the emails from? Well, turns out what we do is we scan the internet and find email addresses on the internet. What do I mean by that? Look at your own sales organization. Your salespeople who are participating in discussions, who have left slideshows, they've left the email addresses in lots of different places on the internet. Heck, if your sales department is not doing it, maybe your HR department is leaving the email addresses out there. So what we do is we scan the internet for these documents where there are emails, and we show them to you. And if we can't find a document which has the email address of your prospect, we'll look at their colleagues who have left the email addresses and say, hey, here's a probable email which you can try for your prospect. So how do we figure this out? Well, some of the best internet researchers taught us how to do this. And typically, it takes them about 10 to 15 minutes to find one email address. This software tool takes about under a minute to find one person's email address. How accurate is it? Well, if the email address is on the internet, well, there's a 95% chance we're going to find it. And if we don't find it, well, we are 3 times faster than a human being at least. And we're totally legit because we have a patent on the process, so that shows that it works. So that's what it is. A tool which you can put in a name in a company from anywhere. A lot of people use it on LinkedIn, but you can use it for a purchase list if you have. Press a button, get a contact information. Press another button, you can even transfer to your salesforce.com if you like. So how much is this worth? Well, it's fantastic if you're looking for maybe 7,000 plus emails a year, maybe 200 emails a day, if that's your rate. And for that price, it's about $895 a year, which is roughly about 12 cents a contact. It's 12 cents a email. So it's very cheap, very easy to use. And actually, this is unlimited. You can use for as many emails as you want, so you can take that price down even further. For the registrants of this webinar, and this is my offer, this is what I was coming to, I'm giving a $300 off on the account researcher. And this $300 you can save if you decide to take it up by Friday, if you decide to buy it by Friday. And if you need to see how the account researcher works for you, no problem. We have an online demo which you can come and take, which you can talk to our market specialist and take it. So if you need to if you need to take that demo, just type in your GoToMeeting chat that, okay, hey, I'd like to have a demo, and Rich will get back to you. Or if you need to contact, if you don't have your GoToMeeting chat open, just type out an email to rich@egrabber.com. Tell us your time when you like to see a demo of this thing, how it works for you, your company, your leads. No strings attached demo. If you like it, take it. Don't like it, no problem. Nice to meet you. Then that's Rich's contact information. And that's it. I'm signing off. This is Clinton. Rich, perhaps we can take some questions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Clinton. Thanks for the quick offer and the info about account researcher. Before we take on the questions, Jeff, here are some interesting comments, okay? Maybe you can share your views on these comments, okay? Eric says, I know this is silly, but I've always stayed away from LinkedIn as I never went to college, so I thought people would judge me as not being a person who could really help them with their business. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it depends upon the individual. You'd be surprised at the number of people I found on LinkedIn who have not gone to college, who present themselves very credible individuals. So what you need to do is you need to create your personal brand. What value proposition do you offer to others? Because I can tell you, with a lot of these profiles, if you peel back the onion on them, people do not realize, when they look at them, that you do not have education. And there are a lot out there like this. And yet these people have done extremely well because they have clearly articulated their value proposition on LinkedIn. So don't be gun shy. Just list your accomplishments, what you've done, and how you can help people. What is your value proposition? What do you clearly, what pain points can you address? How can you help people? That's what they care about.
Sure.
So don't be afraid.
Two of the most successful people in the tech industry dropped out of college.
Right.
Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. So it's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of your views. Okay, here's another comment from David. David says, I'm an expert on LinkedIn as well, and you have to pay to send out emails to people in a group at a cost of $10. And if you have a free account, the group emails are still free. And,
yeah, the group emails are correct. Yes, he's
right.
correct. Right.
So,
However, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I was going to finish it off. Okay,
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he says, okay, you lose all of your contact and all of your prior email correspondence, okay, whether you pay them or, unpaid. So as long as you keep paying them, okay, and stop paying them, you lose everything. Is that true?
I don't know because I've continued with it, and I've not heard that before, so I can't say unequivocally that that's the case or not. I've had a paid subscription for a number of years now, so I've not discontinued that, so I'm not sure what they do with regard to discontinuing anything that you'll be able to see if you stop using the paid subscription.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can chip in with that. Our sales team, frankly, uses some LinkedIn Premium accounts, and what we found is LinkedIn Premium accounts is great to get in touch with people, to zero down on your target prospect list, and once you're done connecting with them, once you're done sending them an email, whatever it is, you take the conversation off LinkedIn.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
So that kind of works out very well because face it, LinkedIn filters are very powerful. They can especially the premium account. I was looking at the lead builder feature of that. You can really zero down onto your prospect and say this company, this profile, this kind of level in the organization. That's really good.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, here's a couple of other questions for you, Jeff. Okay, Adam says, why is a lion on? What is a lion on LinkedIn? How effective is the feature? Feature my resume option via LinkedIn in Premium.
Oh, okay. But basically, with regard to lion, LinkedIn means LinkedIn Open Networker. And what it means that if people ask for a connection with you, that you'll accept their connection pretty much without hesitation. I can tell you if I see a lion and it appears to be a bot, then I will not connect with them. But in most cases, I'd say 97, 98% of the cases, I will. But it's a great way of connecting with people, expanding your network, and your ability to be found. So I'd advocate that. The other questions with regard to premium, again, I believe in the premium account because of the email capabilities and also the search, because I am a heavy user of it. I do use it for searching for individuals and companies and what have you. So I want to avail myself of all the particular tools that I can within LinkedIn itself and helps facilitate that.
Oh, okay, perfect. So here's another question from Neil. Neil says, what is a good summary or points format so it gets that closer look and to a contact?
Closer look at the so they take a closer look at you. Again, the value proposition is very, very important. Also make sure that the value proposition that you have clearly articulates and states the keywords that someone will be searching for. What is the pain point? What are they searching for? And you want to make sure that you incorporate those within your value proposition in all of the respective areas within LinkedIn. The headline, the summary, the experience levels, how they get in touch with you, so on and so forth, so that someone does that search that can find you. However, do not overdo it, and do not stuff the channel or stuff LinkedIn with arbitrary information or keywords that are overdone and don't have relevancy to what you're actually offering. Because people are doing that, and they're still doing it. It's infuriating, it's disingenuous, and unethical.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, here's another question for you, Jeff. Again, you've been getting quite some good number of questions. How much time do you spend on LinkedIn in a day, and what kind of daily LinkedIn habits do you have?
Okay, as far as LinkedIn, I don't spend as much time on LinkedIn as I do on Twitter. But I do spend, I would probably say half an hour a day or so on LinkedIn. It depends. I mean, if I'm writing a post, and it'll be longer. And as far as daily habits, I check who's looked at my profile. I check whose birthdays it is, or congratulations, and try to connect with them when I can. I also check if there are any, in-mails or also emails from people on LinkedIn, and I try to respond to them as quickly as I possibly can because time is of the essence. I don't always get to them, but I try my best within that half an hour or so time frame that I spend on LinkedIn on a daily basis. The other thing is, I can tell you that with regard to the LinkedIn email system, I'm not a real strong proponent of it. So as you've advocated, I try to take the conversations on LinkedIn over to my email, my Gmail account, and conduct business accordingly through there. It's just a lot easier to use and display information pertaining to those customers and prospects within Gmail than it is on the LinkedIn email system. So please be aware of that. Take the conversation offline. Also, the fact is, one thing I forgot to point out during the webinar is download your LinkedIn contact information and then upload it into a Gmail account. Tag those individuals or put them in groups and manage them accordingly because of the fact that you want to make sure that you maintain control over those contacts because, you know, LinkedIn could shut down or shut you off for one reason or another at some particular time, and you've lost all of that hard work that you've done with regard to accumulating LinkedIn contacts. Your Rolodex or your LinkedIn address book or contact information is really key to success in business. So make sure that you take care of that and manage it appropriately, and also keep it in safekeeping such as Gmail so that you can make sure that if LinkedIn ever does something that shuts you out for some reason or another, then you have that information readily at hand.
Okay, yeah. All right, so here's another question for you, a follow-up question from Adam. Adam asks, what's your opinion of the feature My Resume option with LinkedIn Premium?
Have not used it, have not really explored it extensively, so I can't say anything with regard to that. Generally what I do is with regard to resumes and that on LinkedIn, I don't post a resume. I don't advocate that people do. I do share LinkedIn profiles with people. I will take and I will export the profiles into PDF formats, and I will conduct three-way emails with people to make connections and create other business opportunities for people that I know as much as possible, like making those connections within my LinkedIn contact database. And I do that through downloading the PDF files and using those rather than resumes and that.
Okay, great. Here's a question from Neil again. Since it's not focused regarding selecting an audience, why is Twitter good for you or I? And what does it gain for you or me regarding finding or acquiring new clients?
No, it can be focused. It depends how you use it. If you use tools such as search.twitter.com, you can really hone in on the information that you want accordingly. There are other tools out there that you can use to look at hashtags that people are talking about specific issues with regard to business or with regard to certain topical areas. It'll allow you to focus in on those individuals. If you comment on those individuals or retweet their material, it creates an engagement. People will notice you. It'll lead to a potential for them following you. You can direct message them with information pertaining to yourself, or you can take that a bit further if the relationship is fairly solid over to LinkedIn and leading to email correspondence, the actual phone conversations, face-to-face meetings, wherever it might be in the respective company. It just helps facilitate that and helps you to focus in on who your true prospects are by looking at those individuals commenting on certain topical areas and the companies talking about it as well.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm just looking at the questions to see if something else came up for any of you. I don't see any other questions popping up at this point of time. But folks, if you do have any questions for Jeff or for Clinton, if you don't have their contact information, please reach out to me. My contact information is still there on the screen. You can reach out to me at rich@egrabber.com, or there's my phone number for you. You can just give me a call, and I'll be happy to take your question.
Right. Okay, I just want to, here's my information right here. Please reach out and connect with me via email or by Twitter. You can find me out there on my website, which is in the process of being revamped, on my phone number there. Hopefully this information that I presented today was helpful. Again, if you could show of hands, Rich, could you facilitate that as to whether it was helpful or not?
Yeah. Guys, if you think, Jeff Sheehan's information was useful to you, can you please raise your hands? Now there's a raise hand button. Now let's just check how many people really liked it. Okay, some people have been commenting. Yes, they really like it. Yep. There's plenty of them who really like it.
Okay, I appreciate that very much. Again, I have been involved in this for a number of years. 8 years on LinkedIn, I've been on it, and fully immersed in this for the last 5 years. My approach is different, a little bit unorthodox, and the fact is I'm not so much a content marketing person or oriented in that area. I believe in the customer because that's the majority of business. And as a takeaway, please, please, I implore you to go out and concentrate on your customer base right now. What are you going to do to enhance those relationships? Because it's where your profits and your greater revenues, your upsells, and everything else are going to come out of, particularly in the B2B space.
Oh, yeah. Great. Here are some comments for you, Jeff. Arun says, appreciate your thoughts, Jeff. It was really nice. Neil says, thank you. All great and usable info. Thanks for answering my questions. Hey, so here are some good comments for you, Jeff. They're really liking it.
Okay, if you would, if you just comment on Twitter, I greatly appreciate it. Or and please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And again, I'm a believer in the eGrabber tool, so I can't emphasize enough as to building a prospect list and engaging with yourself using the eGrabber tool.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks for all the insights. Clinton, thank you so much for jumping in and taking some questions, answering and sharing your thoughts as well, and sharing about eGrabber. Appreciate that very much. So that's all from us today, folks. I do really hope you enjoyed it. And if you do have any questions or comments about the feedback or feedback about the webinar, please reach out to me at rich@egrabber.com. I'd love to hear from you. And please do send us your suggestions as well, what you would like to see on the future webinars. We'll see how we can incorporate that. Thanks for joining us. This is Rich signing off. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Clinton.
Okay, thank you very much.
I
appreciate it. And everyone have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.